Hi, it's John. I've been away for a while. Well, really, I've been home. So my idea is at the start of the summer, I ended up going back to summer camp. I was going to, in that time beforehand, just do all of the YouTube pagan challenges. That didn't happen. So once again, I'm playing catch up, although I think it will go quick, because there's some videos I can link up together and be really quick. Because one of them was like, what is your do you have a favorite pagan artist, musical or otherwise? Something like that. I looked at that and I was like, there's pagan musical artists. So that shows my knowledge of that. So that will be a quick video. Summer ended up great. A lot of weird supernatural things going on. The full moon in July. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I guess the amount of spirits we have on camp seemed to double, because people were reporting apparitions in places on camp where that had never happened before. So that was interesting, everyone coming to me for help with that. A big lesson I learned from this summer is to evoke the illustrious Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones is, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you may find you get what you need. Which manifested in a lot of different ways throughout the summer. I might do just a whole video on that. Another interesting part of the summer was learning use the right materials. So, what I made lately is I made some rawhide rattles. They actually have rawhide. Don't know if you're actually going to be able to hear that at all. So I didn't know there was a difference between rawhide and tanned leather. Rawhide this is the stuff that like dog bones are made out of. This is actually a dog, like the dog chew toys. Yeah, didn't know there was a difference. There is. So if you don't know what you do is you wet the leather, you cut it out, you sew up the sides, you fill this with sand, just to get like the shape. I don't know how some people do these. I'm happy with how these came out. Some of the ones that I've like seen online, it looks like people have baseballs at the end, so I'm happy with how it turned out. But before this, I was using tanned leather, which does not get hard once it's dried. So the point is that you like dry it. So I had one that I literally dried for 2 months, like constantly re-wetting. This one, 2 days. 2 days to dry, and it actually was completely solid. Another story about using the right materials, ironically, also with the difference between tanned leather and rawhide. So, I guess every year there's a family that used to be leather workers, or they just have a bunch lying around the house, and because I remember they donated last year, and I pulled some nice pieces out of there. Even maybe before. But, like, I come back and, like, this year the pile's bigger. And so I reach in, and one of the things I pull out is a 30 by 33 inch deer leather, because it feels different than the cow, because it's thinner and softer. Stuff like that. So I'm like, yes, I can finally make a drum head out of this. Well, thankfully, when I went to Pagan Pride Day, 2 crones nicely informed me that it won't work. So I'm kind of happy that I didn't end up buying a hoop or a drum frame and then have it not work. So I'm figuring out if I want to buy one or if I want to buy one of those like make your own. I'm thinking of going with that. So yes, another important lesson from the summer is the difference between tanned leather and rawhide and knowing when to use each. Okay, so Pagan Pride Day, that was on September 9th. I went to that. I learned a lot. There was workshops throughout, and then a lot of stores, or a lot of people selling stuff. I didn't buy anything, because I was like, I really didn't need anything. I also really didn't have money on hand to buy. But that was nice. Learned a lot, kind of engaged with people in the community. Didn't really meet a lot of people my age. I thought I would make more connections. Not that the environment was abjectly unfriendly, but there was like groups forming, and you could tell like certain people knew each other. Like when I did the Labyrinth one, which I loved so much, the Labyrinth workshop, I now have a connection with labyrinths. Problem is, there's none in my area. But there's like people that like knew the people leading the workshops and knew stuff. There seemed to be a lot of heathens around, or might have just been a lot of people wearing Thor's hammer, but like I usually associate that with people who are actually heathens, not like other pagan people who work with the Nordic gods, but specifically heathens. That might just be a dumb assumption on my part. So the first one that I went to was Proto-Indo-European religion. So Proto-Indo-Europeans believed they sort of originated around the Black Sea, the kind of northern part of the Black Sea. Why this is interesting is because this leads to like Celtic, Germanic, Nordic, Greek, Roman, and then also into India with Hinduism. And he was saying by knowing some of this, you can reconstruct missing pieces from the other ones by looking at what pieces you have from other religions. Like Celtic can inform you about things that probably happened in Nordic, and vice versa. And it was so interesting because it's all about the language. I'm going to have to edit this. Alright, we're back. I wasn't expecting the phone to ring. So it looks like I'm going to have fun editing this together. But I know how to do that now, so hooray for jump cuts. So it's a language, and you can see the language, how it evolves, that you can trace where it goes. So yeah, started about 3,500 BCE around the Black Sea. And it helps us helps us understand the descendant traditions, and you can fill in the gaps by looking at others in the groups. And it was interesting concepts he was talking about. In the description, I'll make sure I put the person's name because he's worth looking up. So that was interesting because I did not expect that at all. Like, I didn't know anything about it, so I just went to it and was like, okay, see what it was. Because the other one was like fairy magic, which I was like, I have a good connection with the fairies already, so I didn't think I needed to go to that. So I went to this, and it was just super interesting because I knew nothing about it. The second one I went to was about the labyrinth and the Axis Mundi, and she was talking, and her thing was that like Axis Mundi, it's a combination of like, it's the center of the universe where there's like everything and nothing and the opposites are together and things like that, but it's like everywhere. And then she was talking about how it's how people, when they raise their energy up their chakras, raise the earth energy up their chakras, but then also bring the universal energy down. So there's a part where like standing kind of in X formation. They said I did it well. That was the one friendly moment I had all festival. So it was a 7th circuit labyrinth, and so she is talking about how it's like the 7 chakras. So as you go around like one part, it's a root, and you go together, and then when we hit the center, that's when we're in the Axis Mundi. She was really interesting. I'm going to have to look up these people's names again. That won't be too hard. And the last one was this guy who talking about making a spiritual path. It was kind of just a kick in my butt to just like actually be doing stuff daily. And that just was interesting. One of the things that he talks about is so he's in the 80s, he's doing psychic readings for people at $25 for 30 minutes. He's like, I'm making more than my mom. The family didn't really understand it, and stuff like that. But he talked about how he had like all of the Nancy Grace books, and they were just like filled with 20s, and like that's where he kept all his money. Just being like, also just in the 80s, like he's making good money then. So yeah, that's actually like my new abundance, prosperity, money like visualization is like a book of just every page with a 20 in it. That I found really powerful. And he was just an interesting guy. So overall, it was nice. And then at the end, as I was leaving, I had learned about, because one of the things I was like going around and asking people was where to find a hoop. And I guess in the end of it was a good thing that I never really found that information, because it wouldn't have helped me. I just have a drum that wouldn't make a noise. So, yeah, so then there's two crones. They were also at the Labyrinth one, and, like, they were just like, it won't work. Which is, I'm really, actually now, thankful. At the time, I was really mad, because I was, like, so excited. Because now I just have this, like, 30 by 33 piece of leather that I'm like, do I want to make, like, a bag for it, or... I don't know. So that was Pagan Pride Day. What have I been up to since then? Waiting around to hear from jobs. Like, I'm going to be lifeguarding at the Y, thank goodness. Like, it was sort of like it's been sort of like the first month back from school when I wasn't doing anything, and I was just like, yeah, I kind of want to go back to camp. I should have, like, broke down earlier and been like, let's go back to camp. But, win some, you lose some. Camp, great time. I'm going to figure out where I am in the YouTube Pagan Challenge. I have a pretty good idea, but we're just going to try to figure that out to get on track with that. I love the last week. It's like, what did you learn from doing this? And I'm like, that I can't seem to be able to keep a consistent schedule on making these, even in, like, college, when I had a very, like, structured schedule of, like, times that I easily could have done this. So, gonna get back on that.